Welcome guys to a new session of Movie Battleground. I'm your host, Subra Sharma, and we have our two competitors here. And from the blue corner, we have Manning, the Maelstrom, France.
How are you guys doing? It's a pleasure to be here. I didn't expect that name to carry over, but it totally makes sense. Cross-pollination. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm super excited to actually start doing some fighting because I'm not just a movie knowledge brain. I'm a movie fighting brain. Wow, I should have worked on that, but we'll keep going.
After all that, on the right corner we have, in taking the place of Aaron the Cannoli Canol, we have Matt Beer. You have to figure out his nickname.
Yeah. I think in the movie trivia side, I went with like Notorious or the Notorious one before McGregor lost, so it kind of feels weird. No, I'm very curious to see how my fighting's gonna be, since I had like an hour to kind of prepare.
Hour and a half, we had some time.
Yeah, a little bit. It's either gonna be good or it's gonna be horrible.
It's gonna be entertaining. We can guarantee that.
Oh yeah.
It better be.
It better be, he threatens. He'll stop the call right now if it's not.
That was good. Okay. So we're gonna start with the first question. So question for number one, which member of the Defenders deserve their own movie? We're gonna start with Manning.
Now, this isn't exactly a very hard question because everyone's favorite Defender, or at least one of the highlights of each Netflix series whenever he's in it, is Daredevil. Now, back in 2003, we got the premiere of Red Batman, as we will call him, when Ben Affleck made the appearance. However, that movie is best left forgotten. And instead, in 2015, when Charlie Cox took over the role, we got this really nuanced, very dark, very gritty portrayal of the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. And through this, we've gone through two very, 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 very good seasons of Matt Murdock becoming this hero that Hell's Kitchen has needed, now with Kingpin and the mob and the Hand in and of itself trying to take him down. But now that we've had these two seasons, what would be fantastic is if we had a third season. Instead of a third season, we would have this movie, which I believe would be an excellent addition to the pantheon that is the Marvel Netflix series, and it would be the easiest to translate over to the movies because Daredevil is the most widely known character, which would pave the way for more Defenders films if we would like that, be it Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, or even Luke Cage, as Matt will point out. But Daredevil to me is would be like he is for the founding of the Netflix series, he'd be the great founding for the Netflix movie, which might be probably R if we're being real with ourselves. These are darker movies. But since Logan did it, Daredevil can do as well too. With Charlie Cox leading the way with some very nuanced performances from maybe John Bernthal, Penelope Ann Miller, I think this would be a fantastic film to see.
All right, so Matt?
Okay, so I thought about what I think would be the best movie, and I feel like out of all the characters that are there, the best one to go with would be Luke Cage. Now, why Luke Cage? Everybody seems to be complaining that the Marvel movies feel the same. They have the same tropes. They're very similar. But with Luke Cage, you would get that more grit feel. It'd be kind of like what Creed was to the Rocky movies, where it was just that real dirty part of Brooklyn and, that whole New York area. So, I'll go into more details once we actually get into it, but that's my pick.
Now, you'd mentioned that we would see the dirty part of New York. We would still see the dirty part of New York if we went to Hell's Kitchen, because this part of New York was better left away, because we don't really see that even when we go to Queens in Spider-Man Homecoming, which is more of a it doesn't seem as dirty as you think it is, but if we go to Hell's Kitchen, we definitely see that. So I don't understand the point if we just go to Luke Cage and we see that dirty side. But Daredevil in of itself is a much more accessible hero. At first, if you want to get to know the MCU Netflix universe. He would be the perfect jumping on point for that. He was just like he was for the Netflix series. He'd be the great starting off point for the people if you want to try to get to the movies.
Well, when I meant 30, I was kind of rushing so I can get down. But
Yeah,
still, when you have a Daredevil movie, it will feel more like MCU. They're gonna, because of Disney, they're gonna make it feel that way. But with Luke Cage, you can't really do that. He's just not that type of hero. That would be changing the character in its whole, you know. So I mean, it's gonna make it different just with that. And I think a lot of people do want more of a different movie than, the same thing we've been getting with MCU, which I mean is not bad. I love the MCU, but you gotta have a little bit of different flavor into it, and this is the perfect thing for it.
100%, 100% agree. But this is also the first person that we'd be getting, and I think Daredevil is that perfect mix. He's the only one that wears his costume. Well, Luke Cage wears his yellow shirt from the comics as well, or orange shirt, I should say. Orange, yellow, either way, color. But Daredevil in itself, he wears a costume. He is the most comic-based out of all of these characters that we've seen so far, and he would be the most accessible to an audience that, may not have seen the Netflix series. And throwing that in there, we can get references to Jessica Jones, to Luke Cage, to Iron Fist, to Punisher, to Stick, to Elektra, to whomever. He is just like the series, and I will keep harping on this, he is the one to bring this all around. And think about it. Having I believe it's the Born Again series, correct me if I'm wrong, I could be thinking that, but how they're going to go into that in about the third in the third season. Instead of having a third season, we could go directly into the movie on the big screen, having a nice 2-hour chunk of Kingpin coming back from prison and finally taking down or attempting to take down Daredevil from the inside because he knows he is Matt Murdock, and having these smaller characters trying to avoid the wrath of the Punisher. Punisher Kingpin. That would be a fantastic story to witness.
Well, and then let's go back to the Netflix thing. Daredevil had 2 seasons. He's been in Defenders. I mean, Luke Cage had a season in Defenders as well. But I feel like as far as when you watch, the Netflix shows, let's say some of the people don't watch Netflix shows. It's going to confuse them. But I feel with Luke Cage, you can make a movie about him. And I feel like as far as what the series set up, you don't need to really go back to, season 1 as much or the Defenders. You can just make your own thing. And I feel like that would be better for the audience than Daredevil, where, if people are going to go in, Daredevil, spoiler alert, people thought he died and he came back to life. And people are going to be confused by that. And some people probably won't want to watch the Netflix shows a whole lot just because it's so many hours that they'll have to catch up. They're like, oh, what's this? What's this? What's this? But with Luke Cage, I feel like it's easier for people to connect to him, and it's easier to translate to the screen because you don't have to rely on people having to watch the Netflix shows to know what's going on. But with Daredevil, because he died, you have to kind of watch before and understand why.
And yeah, that totally, absolutely makes sense as well, too. However, with Luke Cage, he does have all this baggage of being connected to these characters as well, too, because this is a still connected universe. But Netflix does a great job of making themselves separate from the MCU, and with only bits and pieces. But we have earned a movie with Daredevil being in the front row seat of his own, helming his own film. Luke Cage has only had 1 season. He needs to go about another season and being a season that was kind of at best. Half the season just kind of went downhill after, spoiler alert, the death of Cottonmouth. I feel like we need to earn 1 more season with him on the Netflix shows before we get back into him as a full main character of a movie. Daredevil, I feel like it's earned that with Charlie Cox's amazing performance as Daredevil. I want to see that done and just wash the taste of Ben Affleck as Red Batman out of my mouth.
Right. And
it's only formats. Now we're gonna have like the rebalance. Like it was gonna be 1 net starting now. Rebalance. No, sorry.
is it me or Manny?
Whoever starts first. Whoever wants to start first.
Okay. I guess I can go into it. Like you said with Daredevil, his first one, though it wasn't connected to MCU, wasn't great. And like I said, with the Netflix things, in order to understand what would go on with a movie rather than having a 3rd season before a movie, is people are going to be confused on why are they talking about Daredevil died? What's going on? As far as people who haven't watched Netflix shows, But like I said with Luke Cage, you won't have to worry about that. Plus, little fun fact: Tarantino wanted to direct a Luke Cage movie, so bring him in to that, give him that as his final movie. I feel like it's gonna bring more people in that maybe aren't comic book fans, rather than just the traditional, like Daredevil or whatever. And it is true. Look it up. He did say he wanted to direct one. He wanted it to feel like what the Netflix show ultimately became. But at the time, they didn't want him to do it because they didn't think it'd be successful. So,
to that point of Tarantino directing one, it wouldn't be a Luke Cage movie. It'd be a Tarantino movie full through and through, because you cannot divorce the idea of Tarantino putting a stamp upon that movie, and I feel like that would take away from the MCU. And yeah, we want to try to get some different movies in there, but I feel like that's going to take people out completely. Specifically with Marvel's no F-bomb rule, that's going to be really hard to rein them in for that. But specifically, bringing back Stephen DeKnight, who was the showrunner for the first season of Daredevil, and as well as a really good director, I feel like he'd be a fantastic person to bring it in and give us a nice conclusion to this Daredevil 3-part series. And I feel like that would be something really new and different, having a 2-season arc and then bringing it in for a full-on movie, because this series is still not Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, but it's still a really big series for Netflix, and I feel like this would be the great accumulation of all that hard-earned hours for us fans to watch and see Charlie Cox on screen as Daredevil, and to feel some validation to this branching between the television series and the movies, and this would be a great way to bring it together.
Yeah, time. But so that was that was a really good argument between you guys. Both had, like, you guys went back and forth, facts after facts regarding both of your choices. This is really hard to choose. I mean, Manning made some good points. I mean, of course, Matt made some brilliant points. But I have to agree on one point, which Manning, counters on Matt's argument regarding Quentin Tarantino directing Luke Cage, which I might have to give the point to Manning. But it's a really close argument. I mean, you guys went head to head. It's really close. It could have been either way, but Manning gets the
All right.
point.
all right.
Let's not get salty right now. We know what happened.
Although I will say, for someone who only had like an hour to prep, hour 30 minutes, that was I thought I could crush Luke Cage's argument. No, dude, that was great. That was fantastic.
That was impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, I was impressive.
Let me get
interesting.
Let me get this second question in. All right. All right. For a second question, you know what movie is coming next week? That's right. Movie that makes you feel cool. You feel cool. You feel
No, stop. Oh my God. I hate clowns.
Right.
This question is the worst.
All right. In honor of it releasing this coming Friday, pitch a scary movie that involves clowns. We're gonna start with Matt.
All right. Here, let Manning go first. I got to take a picture for my mom because they're getting ready to go to South Bend for the Notre Dame game.
Okay, this I'm not gonna cut out. I will not cut this out. Don't cut this out.
Yeah, I'm keeping this in. They're going to the Notre Dame game. I got to snap.
Ooh, honestly, I'm terrified of clowns, so this one was a treat to write. Not really, I hated it. But I tried to channel in my inner fraidy cat and try to see what would I like to see on the screen that wouldn't terrify me too much, but also make my skin crawl. Because a horror movie's job is to not, get you with cheap jump scares, is to make you actually feel unsettled. And I feel like this something that's based in reality would be pretty great. So excuse me, I have this little plot detail written out that I feel would be great, because this one is inspired by true events from 2016 that I think people will be very familiar with. It all started back in early August when in Greenville, South Carolina, a 9-year-old boy came home to his mother after having a run-in with 2 creepy clowns he was quoted with in the woods in their backyard. This was the catalyst that grips not only America, but Canada, the UK, Ireland, and Australia, who at one point or another issued warnings to some effect. Because the story will diverge from the actual events by creating more of a psychological horror aspect, we will probably kill, of course, a couple of unfortunate victims, just to keep it interesting. Yet all this time, one wouldn't be fully aware of what or who is causing this. They'd be similar to random acts of murder, but with people witnessing like, oh, I saw that like this clown. So it would be this mass hysteria that would be coming up from the minds of people trying to think up what this is, because people are seeing clowns running rampant, and which took over basically the internet and the world between the period of like the second half of 2016. But anyway, I digress. David Fincher directs this taunt thriller and returns with Academy Award nominee Rosamund Pike as FBI agent Jody Martin, the determined officer fixated on uncovering this hellish plot that reports are saying will have an accumulation on October 31st. True fact, people were reporting this. The night of Halloween, when something terrible would happen. Nothing happened, of course, except some sightings of clowns. But what if the fact these clowns were actually part of something much deeper and much sinister? The supporting cast include Lawrence Fishburne as her superior and Michael Keaton as Richard Brooke, a man who knows more than he lets on. This would be a thriller that really introduces the idea of seeing something as sometimes not as scary as just hearing it, as not even seeing it. It's the unknown that scares us just a bit more, and I feel like that and dipping into reality, as well as another fantastic turn by Rosamund Pike, please and thank you, is something that I think will terrify anyone.
Good. Wow. I didn't expect that. All right, Matt, your turn.
All right, so mine is completely improvised. As I say it, I thought. So, mine is kind of similar. So, it's similar, but it's different in its own way. So I think this will be fine. So, our film opens up. There's a little boy. He's walking home. He's just walking home, and in the corner of his eye, and we see it on camera, there's a clown just standing right there in the woods. He doesn't notice anything, and he just continues to walk. So you have that. There's a little bit of like, oh my gosh, there's something right there. So, he thinks he saw something, but it's messing with his head. So later on, as he's walking home again, he hears something, sees the clown right there. He's kidnapped, killed, tortured, all that good stuff. So it's going to be kind of like it a little bit. So word starts getting out. The boy is missing. Nobody knows he's dead yet, and they're wondering what's going on. And we have a little bit of a crime element thrown in with this horror aspect, because we don't see that a lot. So have this detective who's played by Leonardo DiCaprio. He's on this case. He's trying to figure out what goes on, and he starts to figure out it's a clown. But as he's figuring this stuff out, more kids and adults are disappearing, being taken. Same thing. Nobody knows what's happened. It's very similar. So he's trying to figure out, he knows he can't do it alone. So he gets a retired detective to help him. And this retired guy is played by Jack Nicholson. He's coming back. He has some movie, but Jack Nicholson is back. It's going in. They're finding this whole thing. So people are being taken away. It's playing on the psyche type of horror aspect with it too. You're going to see the gore. You're going to see the elements and all that stuff. And as the movie goes on, we learn there's a couple more clowns in this area, but they're all in the same inner circle. I don't know what the movie's called, but this movie will be directed by Martin Scorsese. Re-teaming up with Leo, which is obviously going to be a win. And you have Deakins doing the cinematography in this movie as well. So we'll go a little more into it later. I'm sure I'll come up with more details as I go on, because I'm literally just fitting this out right now.
Yeah, so basically we have the departed version of it versus True Detectives type of story by Manning. So I'll just start the timer. Just 1 second. Let me get this thing on first. We'll start the debate, the argument in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so now You had mentioned you were sort of painting a picture at the beginning, and you said it was kind of like it. You basically have the first little part of it, except now you have Leonardo DiCaprio instead of following the loser kids. And adding Leonardo DiCaprio, you just placed a whole bunch of vanilla in this, making this kind of something we've seen before. And I don't really want vanilla. I want some Rocky Road. Give me Rosamund Pike in there. That's something completely different. Because we want to see her, someone who hasn't done this sort of thriller, horror, action before. She's been regulated to Gone Girl, which she's played this psychotic killer. And I want to see her play this hero, this good guy, this person trying to figure out where these horror elements are coming from. And because mine is based in reality, there's that much horror element to it. Yours sounds like an exaggerated version of, as you mentioned, The Departed, and we kind of got that. It's just Departed with clowns and less Matt Damon. Who knows? Matt Damon could be a clown for all we know. But for this one, I feel like
Keep the leader.
It'd be a lot more grounded in reality, because this is something you don't see. It's something horror. It's not like you will see the murders. This is from the idea of a woman so obsessed to finding, who started off like this is just a prank happening, but then all these murders begin to occur across the states, and you don't know what it is. And also the title for mine would be The Devil Walks Among Us, is something that would be haunting in not only in the feeling, but something in the overall atmosphere. We wouldn't directly see most of the murders. It would be seeing the aftermath. You would see some clowns. You would be gripped with fear, and I feel like that fear would be the driving force of the entire movie, because it's based in that. It's inspired by true events.
Now, I don't want to get you guys wrong. My movie is not just a crime movie with a little bit of horror in it. My movie is a full-out horror film. It's psyche type of horror, obviously, but you'll see the clown. You won't see it a whole lot, but when you see the clown, it's going to make an impact in the movie. This is supposed to be, like, absolutely terrifying, and if we're going to compare the cast, Rosamund Pike, yeah, she's great in Gone Girl. There's no denying that. She's had one good performance. She's not really that good.
Cough, Pride and Prejudice. Cough. Have you seen that, sir? She is very good in that.
No, I mean, so, okay, two. But still, Leo is giving performance after performance after performance that are fantastic.
Wait, plays Leo, and look, Leo now with a more of an accent to him. He's basically playing Leo the entire time, let's be real.
Hey, he's a transgender in this movie, okay? So he's not playing Leo in this one. It's different. It's different. And you got Jack Nicholson returning, which is going to be great, obviously. See Jack Nicholson return again. But no, you're going to get the horror aspect. You're going to see it's not just kids, and it's not exactly like it. We're not following a story of these kids. It's more following these detectives as people are being taken away. I mean, they're going to get killed. Maybe not as bad as I did to Manning right there, but they're going to get, you're going to see death in this movie. It's going to be scary. This is a movie that will make, like, kids cry and some adults, not be able to sleep with the lights off. I feel like my movie can be more of a horror element than yours, and they're both grounded in reality, but I feel with Scorsese, you can have a little fun in there sprinkled in as well, because we don't want it to just be completely serious throughout. Have a little bit of fun. Let's sprinkle some magic in there. Let's make it a little bit Rocky Road, like you said. It's going to have that perfect blend, because it's Scorsese, and it's going to look absolutely gorgeous with Deacon.
Yep. Okay, yeah, that's very true, yeah, but yeah, you said you murdered me with that. You made a very clever joke. That's not exactly what I would call murder. Murder is in the fact of where you demolish my argument, and that is not what you did, sir. But yes, I would, basically had a psychological horror with Scorsese before, and that was Shutter Island with DiCaprio. I don't think I want to see that again, something completely different, because he's played his character similar to that. I want to see something completely different in the sense of where we would have something based upon reality. Yours feels like it could get into like Eli Roth territory, and I don't really want that. No one wants to see these hostile things. I want to see something more based upon a psychological thriller. You said that was what it was based about, but you had all these murders and killings, and yeah, that's cool. But gore is only part of what horror can actually do, and I feel like seeing these through inspired by true events, having a supporting cast by Michael Keaton, who plays absolutely crazy characters that we've seen in Beetlejuice and even in The Founder recently. As someone who knows more than he's letting on to, who would be in charge of this, spoiler alert, in charge of this clown ring across the world, or across the United States, because instilling fear into the hearts of people, I feel like that'd be something that would be really interesting to see.
All right, so I'll let you guys do the requirements in a minute, but just an advice to Matt. Don't describe the movie. I mean, you should also describe the story. You're describing like what the movie is gonna be. You didn't tell the story, so just a little bit criticism. All right, you guys. You can start the rebuttals in 3, 2, 1. 1 minute starts now.
Okay, I guess I can go. All right, so I mean, I thought I explained my story in a sense that it's about, these people being kidnapped. You're gonna have more of the torture element in that first killing, but it's not gonna just be torture. It's definitely not Eli Roth. We're not going to that territory. It's not Hostel. It's completely different from Hostel, and it's not like it's kind of like it, but it's not completely like it. It's and I feel like my movie is gonna be more. It's more centered around one location, one area. Yours is around different areas. So I feel like as far as the movie goes, my story can be executed a little bit better in the sense, and it could be easier to execute than yours. Plus, you got Martin Scorsese, who might be the best director ever. He's at least second or third, helming this film. And when he works with Leo, it's always a success. But the movie, like I said, it follows, you know, these people, they're disappearing. Nobody knows why. So you have Leo and Jack Nicholson, who's brought out of retirement to go and find these people and find, what happened to them. Why are they disappearing? Is it really clowns? Is it something? You're going to see clowns, but the city doesn't know that. It could be anything. It's going to leave, some imagination to people. You're going to hear, like crazy theories like, I don't know, what if Charles Manson got out and took these people? You're going to get something like that. And once they find once they find out it is actually clowns, spoiler alert, they get killed. But then you see all the bodies and stuff, so you're gonna realize what they do. You're gonna know they killed them gruesomely, but it's gonna be leaving it to the imagination as far as how they died, how it killed them. So it's more of that as well as the psyche stuff. So there's the story.
Uh,
You'd mentioned prior that this would not be like it in and of itself. I basically felt like we got a version of it. However, that being said, that aside, you had mentioned also that we could not be able to go across the states. That's where you would hone it in on a single spot in the FBI headquarters, where she would be the one in charge of all this, putting all these pieces together, which would be a nice, haunting detective thriller. But ours seems similar in the way they're both revolving around a mass murder ring of clowns. They're concentrated in different areas, but I feel like mine is basically grounded in true events, and that is where the horror lies, because this was something that gripped people, gripped the world for a couple of months, and which caused mass hysteria. As someone who worked with kids over a period of time and still works with them right now, this scared children to death. These are stories you tell, like, these clowns are going to come get me. They're right. I've seen them. They've been dressing up. We don't know where they come from. And that, in and of itself, which a lot of the horror would come from, is the fear, is the haunting presence that they would lie. Because clowns in themselves aren't scary, but the concept of where they have been twisted, I feel, is something we could explore really well. And Rosamund Pike is someone who, for her story, it would be more along the lines of she's trying to make herself go up in this FBI world, but she is taking this smaller case and just grows and grows and grows until she becomes hell-bent on finding this out, which should be a great character arc, because most of the time characters in horror films are not given this great chance to really bloom and blossom. But, if you look at David Fincher's, which have a lot of horror elements, he's great at giving those great performances out. And I feel like that's something that's needed in a horror film, even with, like, the It movie. That was about the kids. And this, I feel, would be a great character piece for Rosamund Pike, which would be a great thing, because I want to see how the devil walks among us. And that is something really fascinating to really explore about what the mind can do.
Sorry, I gave you guys both an extra minute to.
Sorry.
It's okay.
That was a great match.
Yeah, it was, both of you guys gave really good arguments, but let's just be honest here. One of you guys, gave me a really good description of a really good movie. I have to give the point again to the Maelstrom, because
Blame my mom.
you know why. Matt,
Yeah,
you really give basically another version of it. You're saying the guy, the kid sees the clown and then all of a sudden the kid goes missing. That's basically the plot of it. A kid goes missing. You can just describe it.
A clown takes a kid and goes missing.
I mean, I really like Manning's, how he pitched this role. It's not, I mean, like what he talks about. It's how he describes this role. It's like he's already making that movie right now as we speak. Maybe he's already shot it.
You don't know. I could have been the clown guy. You don't know. This is an idea. I've planned this.
He planned it specifically for today.
For today, this has been in the year long.
So I guess it all made up. It's all worth it.
It's all worth it, guys. I got a point. No actual clowns are hurt in the making of this film.
No actual clown are losing their job over this film.
Oh God, please, yeah. I don't want to. As much as I'm scared of clowns, I don't want clowns to lose their job because they do bring a lot of joy to kids when they're not trying to kill people.
All right, let's just move on from clowns. I'm
Yes, please.
I'm actually getting midges from Manning's on pitch. All right, we're gonna move to round 3, which is the question will be, which foreign actor / actress do you think has had a solid first lead role in Hollywood from the last 10 years? We're gonna start with Manning this time.
Okay. Do you want Matt to go this time because I went first last 2 times, or do you want me to go again? Just a question.
I'm okay with either. But...
Yeah, whichever you want. Whichever.
Okay.
Whatever.
Do you want to go, Matt, or do you want me to go? I just want you to
I
go.
guess I can go. So I thought about this for a whole hour and a half, before going into this match, and I decided to go with Daniel Bruhl, and Rush. I could have went with Inglourious Bastards, but I went with Rush, and that was a performance that if you give to some other actor, it wouldn't have been as impactful to the story. His performance made that movie as good as it was. If he wasn't as good in that movie, let's say he was 80%, 70%, the movie might have just been an okay film. So I feel like his performance is what carried the film, because it's his story. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
I definitely had to. The question has evolved a lot from when we first asked it, and a lot of different answers have been changed. But I feel like I'm sticking with Christoph Waltz from *Inglourious Bastards* because that is what solidified this man as a force to be reckoned with in the area of playing particularly villains, or just shady characters, because he has a way to just capture the screen with every single word he says, even if like Tarantino could just manage to like grip the honeyed words from him because it just comes out no matter what he's saying. It's just something you lock to the screen on, and I feel like Christoph Waltz manages to brilliantly portray someone you just can't keep your eyes off of. Particularly in *Inglourious Bastards*, where he plays Hans Landa, and Hans Landa is one of the most iconic, the modern characters of all time.
All right. So we're gonna start with the arguments as soon as I get this thing on. I keep logging off. All right. Start in 3. I mean, you guys. I mean, whoever wants to start arguing first, you can just start. I'll just start in 3, 2, 1. 4 minutes. Start.
So I had to readjust my camera, so I switched rooms. So now I got the living room. Anyway, to me, when I was thinking about, who gave the better performance and stuff, I go also to how it affects the movie as a whole. I feel like you could have someone else play, the role that Christoph Waltz played, and it would have been as good as it was because it's Tarantino. It wasn't just him. He had Brad Pitt. I argue Brad Pitt, even though he's not a foreign actor, obviously, I feel like his performance mattered to the movie more, in a sense. But with Daniel Bruhl, like I said, if you put somebody else in that role who isn't as good as he is, or didn't give us good as a performance as he is, it affects the movie negatively. It brings it down. I'm not saying it makes the movie bad, but the movie's great because of him and his performance. Yeah, Chris Hemsworth is great too, but his performance wouldn't have made the movie any better or worse overall. You could put in Matt Damon he could give a great performance, and the movie would, it wouldn't improve. It would still be about as good.
That'd
But
been
if you put
interesting.
somebody else in, it negatively affects the movie. Maybe not Matt Damon, but somebody else. Okay, so
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck sounds like a good choice.
Ben Affleck.
But no. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah. Daniel Bruhl absolutely is fantastic in that role. We're not denying that whatsoever. The fact both these men are great actors and they give great performances in their respective films. But you say that he's not the thing you think about in that movie, that it's actually Tarantino. Christoph Waltz Oscar begs to differ, good sir, for that particular movie, which he won Best Supporting Actor for when it came out in 2008 or 9, I believe. But anyway, the year that he won, okay, yeah. Years are not my speciality. But when he won that was all people could talk about. That beginning monologue scene. Who else could have done that? You could have had, of course, no one else is able to do monologues just like that other than Samuel L. Jackson for Tarantino. He manages to suck you in that single monologue. He talks about the rats and how he manages and with the Jews underneath the floorboards. I wanted to keep going. And also when he was eating that strudel, how do you not want to keep... I was fascinated by him eating a strudel, talking to Melanie Laurent's character, because you were fearing for her the entire time because he's that menacing. And I don't see how anyone else could play him because he manages to terrify you with his unhinged grace, if you will, this regalness to him as a villain. It's very captivating.
I mean, you could have somebody who's German, that's a good actor, play that role, and they would have, they would give the performance as good as it was. I mean, I'm not saying he's not the best actor out of Germany or wherever he came from, and he's great. Don't get me wrong. And I didn't say Tarantino made a movie. I was saying that, he wouldn't have improved the movie either way as far as like the performance goes. It doesn't make the movie a better movie all around. Yeah, he won the Oscar. It's great, but I mean, his performance didn't elevate the movie. You could have put somebody in who could have gave as good of a performance, and it would have, been the same movie all around. With Daniel Bruhl, this is literally his movie. I mean, it's not Christoph Waltz's movie. This is basically Daniel Bruhl's movie. I would say Inglourious Basterds is more of a Brad Pitt type movie, in a sense. He mattered more to the overall movie. Daniel Bruhl matters more to Rush, overall.
Yes, that's true. But people don't go out of, unless they're making fun of his accent and saying Nazi scalpels for Brad Pitt, people don't go out talking about him. They talk about Christoph Waltz and his strudel. That sounds really weird. Wow. I did not mean to say that like that. But anyway, Christoph Waltz was the heart of that film. It's the introduction that really grabbed people, and people are like, oh, that's Christoph Waltz. And he went on to do and win another Oscar for playing in Tarantino film in Django. He is that good with words, particular for Django. And you can't just put any German person. You could put any German person as well for Daniel Bruhl, and it would have been in other movies. That comment, I feel like, is completely unbased. But I feel like these guys in particular... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, to go back on the Christoph Waltz thing, yeah, he won an Oscar because of Django Unchained. What else has he done after that? Just kind of go back on that. He hasn't done really anything else that made people talk about him as well. I mean, he did some animated movie I can't think the title of. He was in Big Fish or Big Eyes or whatever.
Big Eyes.
But he hasn't really done anything like that, So, and I mean, it doesn't affect Inglourious Basterds in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just saying that doesn't really do anything overall because he hasn't really done much other good work outside of Tarantino. But go back, his character, like I said, his character is not the main thing in a movie. All right, like I'm saying, you could put somebody else in that role, and it wouldn't affect the movie negatively. It wouldn't decrease the value of the movie. The movie would have been great regardless.
30 seconds.
But with Rush, I mean, Daniel Bruhl makes the movie as good as it is. If you put Matt Damon in that role, it's not going to be good. If you put somebody else in that role, it's not going to be good.
Obviously.
But, I mean, if you, let's replace Christoph Waltz with Leo if they wanted to go different, make it a little different performance, the movie would have still been as good. It might have even been better because Leo's just a better actor. But still, my point being, his performance doesn't make the movie better. It doesn't make or break the movie, but Daniel Bruhl does make or break Rush.
Time. Time. Uh, there was really good arguments between two of you. I'll just before we start with the requirements, I just remind. I'll just give you guys this time. I'll instead of giving you 1 minute, I'll give you guys. It's really going well. This argument. I'll just give you guys 3 minutes each for the requirements. I mean, who wants to start first?
Since Matt just finished, I'll go ahead and respond.
All right, start.
And go and start?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I feel like you're really underestimating what Christoph Waltz brought to that role, because I literally can't imagine anyone else in those shoes and say those words that he did so well, because as we continue to mention, I can't remember a single scene with Daniel Bruhl in Rush. I mean, yeah, he's great in what he did, but Daniel Bruhl isn't exactly a household name in comparison to Christoph Waltz, who took the world, again, by storm when he was in *Inglourious Basterds* and portrayed Hans Landa. A Hans Landa character is iconic now because of the mixture of Tarantino and Christoph Waltz. It's that marriage that really escalated him. And it can't just be like, oh, let's add another character in that. Not anyone can say those words amazingly. Not only did he win the Academy Award, he also won the BAFTA. That's another fantastic thing. The man also won the Golden Globes and the Screen Actors Guild. The man swept. He became Hans Landa, and now he is now embodied in that role because of what he brought to that, what he brought to that performance. I remember that Tarantino was looking far and wide to find someone who would be perfect for that role. Because the character of Han Landa, Tarantino said he feared that he might have written a part that was unplayable. Tarantino said that, but look what happened. If the director himself said, "This is the person that I want," and someone as difficult, not difficult to work with, but as nitpicky as Tarantino, like, "This is the person I want," that's when you realize that this actor in their debut managed to not only impress the audience but impress the director so much that he was like, "Yes, I want the character that I thought was unplayable to be played by Christoph Waltz, a guy for his debut performance." Debut. He'd done some German films prior, but this was his coming out party.
We still have more. Unless you want
Okay, well, I will add another sense, in the sense of like the fact he's also doing some amazing movies just to counteract that in the future, which have to go with Akita Battle Angel and the movie Downsizing by Alexander Payne, who is Academy Award nominee for that. So we can go see what he does, and for the movie Carnage, as different as iffy as that was, he was fantastic in that. It was a great production by performances all around. But yeah, because it came out in 2009, he still hasn't been doing a lot much outside of stuff with Tarantino and stuff along the lines. He's done one movie a year, but he is definitely not someone you need to forget about because of his fantastic repertoire in the future. He's just someone who can just capture the screen wherever he is. And I feel like Tarantino managed to introduce us to such an amazing character actor as someone who managed to make a character like Hans Landa so memorable.
Time. All right. Matt, your turn.
I don't think I need 3 minutes, personally. I might only need plus, I mean, we're running close to time. But anyway, like I said before, look, Christoph Waltz gave an incredible performance. There's no denying that. But when I look at the performance overall, I look at how would it affect the movie overall. Was it their movie? Christoph Waltz and his character, it doesn't make or break *Inglourious Basterds*. You had other things in there. You had a Tarantino, type of feel to it that would have carried it, with or without him. It would still been a good movie. It would still been nominated for Best Picture. Should have won. But, it still would have been nominated. It wouldn't have affected it in any way, shape, or form. Daniel Bruhl makes that movie. If he didn't give that good of a performance, say he had bad month or whatever, just horrible, say somebody died in his family and he just couldn't get there, the movie wouldn't be as good. And yes, I can remember scenes of Daniel Bruhl in Rush, You know, like when he got his face messed up and had to get it wrapped up and still did the race. I can remember that. And because I haven't seen Glorious Bastards in so long, which is a sin to humanity, I don't remember as
Blasphemy.
much other than that opening scene with Christoph Waltz. That's the only thing I remember in the movie. But like I said, Daniel Bruhl makes that movie. And of course, he went on after that to be like Captain America Civil War and other things like that. But Christoph Waltz doesn't make or break the movie. It would have still been nominated for Best Picture. It would have still got Tarantino, I believe, a director nomination. I could be wrong on that, but you know, he didn't make the movie, you know, Oscar worthy. Rush was probably nominated because of Daniel Bruhl alone, and people flipped out when Daniel Bruhl wasn't nominated. Like people thought he should have won Best Supporting Actor, which I think he would have been categorized under that, but still. He makes that movie as good as it is. Christoph Waltz wouldn't have made it worse or better either way. So
You still have one more minute unless you want to add anything.
nah, it's fine.
Okay, so like just to do some sweeping, like you said, I mean, like Christoph Waltz, he got nominated for in 2010, not 2009. Just to
Well, I mean, the movie came out in 2009.
yeah, the movie came out in 2009, but he was nominated in 2010.
Yeah,
and
that's when
he,
Yeah, but
happened.
and he won.
2009, that Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, he won. Yeah, and basically we were just talking about like what the actors. I mean, like which movie impacted them. Like which movie they did made impact on Hollywood. Just to rephrase my broken English. So yeah, I mean, it was really close argument. I have to argue like I have to agree with both of your arguments, but I think this time this is really close. Hmm. This is really close, and you guys should realize a lot of thinking goes into this judging.
Put your judging hat on.
It's on and it's still judging, and I've seen Raj. I mean, I've seen both of these movies multiple of times, and both of these actors they make up those movies. Like Christoph Waltz, he's the highlight of the movie in Inglourious Bastards, and of course Daniel Brühl. Who couldn't forget his performance as Niki Lauda in Rush? And Matt, you should remember his name in the movie is Niki Lauda. So yeah, man is correct about Niki Lauda making up about a whole movie. I mean, Chris Hemsworth was there, but he's just there as a supporting actor. Sure, he's the main story of the guy, but I feel like Niki Lauda is the main guy in the movie. So I'm just gonna give this point. It's gonna go to this time. I'm gonna give it to Matt.
All right.
There's yeah.
Okay.
You give good arguments
Fair enough.
regarding. I mean, with what you have, man.
No more knockouts.
More knockouts.
I didn't need 3 in a row.
Honestly, with what Manning had, I thought he's gonna win this by a knockout.
But yeah, considering the time in which you had, yeah, you're putting up a fight, man.
Yeah.
I cannot be a slouch right now.
I mean, if this match goes public, if anyone has an argument against my judging, talk to the wall, talk to the hand. All right, I'll just move to the next question, which is obviously about the, if I'm not mistaken, it's about the period piece.
Love.
Yeah, in honor of Tulip Fever, which is it already in theaters? Tulip Fever. It also has Christoph Waltz. The question is,
Yeah.
in honor of Tulip Fever, name the best period romance film. Singular, not plural. Alright, we're gonna start with who wants to start first?
I mean, I
And,
can go. I mean, Manny
alright,
went twice
I
already,
can
so I
go.
can.
That's yeah. I
Okay.
can go ahead and go. That's fine because you
alright,
started the
Matt.
last.
Yeah, alright, my name. You
I don't
start.
want to force you to go because I know you. Trying to find 4 minutes and thoughts, but anyway, um, love is a funny thing. It won't always be this burning passion. It can be this calm and serene feeling. It's when you feel butterflies when the other person walks into the room. It's the pause in your speech when you're trying to find the words to say. Uh, but I see like there's no movie that exemplifies this more and does it in a period setting. It can still be translated to nowadays in a way. There's no movie that exemplifies this timeless relationship more. That mixes the timidity with the passion than the characters of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. It's the beautiful mirror. It's the beautiful like mirroring of unspoken tension between Marianne and Willoughby, and you have mirroring that you have the unbridled the unspoken tension between Eleanor and Edward, and you have the unbridled love between Marianne and Willoughby, and that I feel like is a beautiful mirror of what romance period pieces can be and how they're meant to be, because Jane Austen was from a particular time when women's roles were a specific way, and she managed to flip those on their head just about enough to where Eleanor is this really stout, she is the sensible person of the family, that's where the name comes from, and because of that she manages to find love in a particular way that's different from her sister, and that contrast makes for a beautiful romance piece that I feel like exemplifies and it can be watched not just as a period piece, but as a romance movie through all ages.
Alright, Matt.
All right. So as a man who's never experienced love before, this is a little more tricky for me as far as what was relatable and stuff. And I will say, forgive me, I don't watch a lot of period romance stuff. I don't watch a whole lot. I do watch a couple of things. I've seen Pride and Prejudice, because of my mom. But the one I went with is the one I could remember the most in an hour and a half, and that was Titanic. This movie introduced us to Leonardo DiCaprio. This had great performance all around from Kate Winslet, performance as far as vocally and also body appearance was pretty good. And Leo, he's good in the movie. He's great in the movie. And as far as when the movie came out with the visuals and stuff, it really did, it transcended things. He knew it was Cameron. He knew he was going to do something like this, and he went on to do some little movie about blue people. But also, James Cameron was able to tell the story great. So, I went with Titanic, for sure. Most heartbreaking story. And it also introduced us to My Heart Will Go On and all the fantastic memes that have been going around.
Those are some dank memes.
It's a lot of memories. I'm thinking. Okay, back to the match. I've seen that movie like 10 times. All right, we're gonna start with the arguments. 4 minutes argument. I mean, like 4 minutes argument, but I can extend to extra 2 minutes if it's heated all of a sudden. All right.
Yeah, I might have to. The 4 minutes might be the max because time is of the essence.
Okay. All right, four minutes. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Let's be honest. The best part of the Titanic. First off, I'm getting the sense you really like DiCaprio, Matt. Just a feeling. It's just a feeling I have. But anyway, But let's be honest. The thing people remember of Titanic is not the romance. The romance is made fun of. Most kids like, draw me like one of your French girls. That's the thing people remember of it the most. The thing that people remember is the spectacle. It is the emotion behind not the two main characters, but people that are happening around them. They are the more interesting of the two. Kate Winslet falls in love with this guy that she really just met. And, how practical along the way is that? Yes, it's burning passion, which speaks for a couple of days, but he has some adventure, and that doesn't really work out much. It's not the very realistic portrayal of love. Sensibility, on the other hand, has these mirrors, and it shows the foolhardiness of Marianne and Willoughby's relationship, of how it's just full of, oh, he's pretty, she's pretty, and how, you know, that ends in tragedy. And you have the counter argument where you have Eleanor and you have Edward and their relationship, and how it becomes one of they don't want to speak of their love and they want to bury it, and how at the end, because they started off as merely friends and they started to grow over time and begin to really delve in deep into what their feelings were, that makes their his confession of love at the end that much more sweet, instead of where you have it more of just, it's lust more so than love in Titanic. And let's be honest, the reason Titanic excels and won all those Oscars is from the technical categories. That's why it succeeded. There was a reason that it didn't win any for screenwriting or acting or any of those. It was because it was more of a spectacle in comparison to Sense and Sensibility, which won for screenwriting, which was the heart in and of itself for that film.
Well, to go on the Oscar thing, I mean, Titanic did win Best Picture, and I believe Best Director as well. I could be wrong with Director, but it definitely did win Best Picture.
It did.
Which, I mean, that says something right there. And I mean, look, I mean, this also, it gives hope for chumps like me to get with somebody who's, you know, wealthy and who's attractive and nice and all that stuff, because Jack, he just sneaks on. And then he meets this girl and you have that connection and love, and they don't start out loving each other at first. It's not like, oh, hey, you're hot, let's bang. You know, it's not like that at all. No, I mean, it takes a little bit of time before they go to the banging and stuff, but I mean,
it takes about 3 days.
And plus, it's a very real story. Obviously, it's real because it's based on true story, but it's something that people can connect to just because of the family that, you know, actually went through that, or maybe some people who survived that are still alive. You know, they went through some of that stuff. So, I mean, you know, there's that whole realistic aspect. I mean, that doesn't benefit the movie, but still, I mean, like I said, James Cameron does one hell of a job directing this movie. It's a fantastic movie to love. It does feel a little real. I mean, I don't know much about love, but yeah, I mean, there's that. But still, it's a great movie. It's spectacle. It's all that stuff. And you don't have to just be, it proves you don't have to be just this big spectacle film without having a realist, like a grounded love story in there with a douchebag boyfriend that gets upset and leaves people for dead.
He is.
It's a great movie.
It is, you know, it's a good movie, I will say that, but it undermines itself by when it tries to show this love story, and it kind of glosses over the side stories that have been going on, which, as I mentioned, excel much more. The moments when the ship is sinking and we actually get the moments with the old couple in the bed or the mother reading to her kids, that breaks me every single time. The musician is still playing, and then we cut back to the romance where I was like, you know what, you guys are cool, but you're not the reason why I watch this movie. It's a small emotional drama that really makes it go, and I feel like the romance is just kind of tacked on there. They want us to focus on it, but I want to know more about the ship and itself and these people. We don't have a romance, an epic sweeping romance guarding holding this entire plot together. What Sense and Sensibility does is that it manages to tell these intimate stories and have this mirror, as I will continue to bring up there, of these two different relationships and how each of them work, how each of them manage to function. And Jane Austen, the adaptation of that, is the epitome of what a period piece is, a romance period piece, because Jane Austen is the queen in that regard. And by adapting that into a way that, but from Emma Thompson, who wrote the screenplay and starred in it, and was nominated for an Oscar herself, as well as Kate Winslet, that movie was praised and was directed by Ang Lee, the guy who did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, The Life of Pi, and Brokeback Mountain. This guy knows about how to make a great film. James Cameron doesn't make a great film too, but I feel like this marriage of these different styles. Well, you know, they can't all be winners as well too. You know, whenever James Cameron wants to make another film after Avatar, but yeah, this is a beautiful showcase of what love is, and this adaptation of Jane Austen.
I mean, let's go on the love thing. It's not like, you know, she forgets. She still remembers. And when you go to the old lady, you do feel a little bit heartbroken because it's like, yeah, you know, she fell in love with this guy.
2 seconds.
You know, she wasn't sure who he was, but she fell in love, and she wanted to hold on, but let go of him, and he fell in the water. I still want to see Titanic 2, where he comes back to life. But still, nonetheless, I mean, nonetheless, I mean, it's still heartbreaking that, God. I mean, it's great. Walking Dead's big, White Walkers, you can do it. But
Oh God.
still, I mean, nonetheless, it is a heartbreaking love story. And when we're looking at best romantic period piece ever, I'm not just looking at the romance. I'm looking at everything involved, And I don't want to know every single, character that's on the boat. I don't need to know that. Some, yes, but we don't need to know about Sideshow Bob, and we don't know about, Jeff, who was a plumber who decided, why not? Let's go on this boat.
But time,
We don't need to know about these people.
time,
The
time,
main story is these guys.
time, time of the
I want to know about
time
Joe
is
the plumber on Titanic. That's my story.
Alright,
He was hired to fix.
that was a good set of arguments. Um, I'll let I'll let any of you to start the rebuttals. 2 minute or 1 minute, whichever you.
I'll go ahead and
Let's do.
I'll go ahead and quickly end it
What?
for my rebuttal. I'll go ahead and quickly end now for my rebuttal.
Start now. Okay.
Titanic in and of itself is a staple of filmmaking. It is a brilliantly directed film. The romance, I feel, is a spectacle in itself. You said that the romance. The question is, what's the best period romance? It's not like a faction of everything. If it was the best, period film, maybe not the case. But this is the romance aspect of it, and you have to take that into consideration, and that has to be the main basis of your argument. And Insensibility does that in spades because it is all about the romance between these 1 to 5 different characters, and you follow their journeys. And you get to experience what love is to different people. And this one, in Titanic, you get like a specific idea of exactly what love is just for these 2 people. And it's kind of like, and the backdrop is complete spectacle and complete chaos and complete epicness of destruction everywhere and sadness. But we only get a certain fraction of what love is. And Insensibility manages to paint a different picture, a full picture of what that love can be. The faults, the trials, the tribulations, the viewpoints, the understanding between 2 different people. It's a beautiful thing.
All right. So Matt, got it.
Okay, so like I said, when I look at the question, what's the best period romance film? I'm looking at the film as well. Yes, the romance is a big impact, and the romance in Titanic is really good. Okay, you gotta think about it. Like I said, it follows these 2 people who come from different parts of the world as far as society goes, and they meet up and they still fall in love when society would look down on that as far as, oh, you're rich, you shouldn't be with somebody who is, pretty poor. You shouldn't be like that. And it shows their love and how it slowly but builds up, and once it hits their banging, that's cool. And you have that epic, destruction and chaos and stuff, but their love doesn't go away. Me personally, yeah, I just meet this girl. I'm like, see, I'm running. I'm going to save my life. No, they stay together through the very end until, it's the end for one of them. And that, to me, speaks for true love. So that's, I think that's great for the romance part. But also, you're looking at the fantastic directing, fantastic performances. You have the great visuals in the movie, which were some of the best. I mean, take away Titanic, take away Jurassic Park and stuff. It's one of the best that was at that time. So, I mean, to me, we're looking at a film overall. I feel like out of everything going in, not just romance, but every single aspect of filmmaking, I feel like that's better than Sense and Sensibility. Technically, just all that fun stuff.
All right. Time. So yeah, that'll be it for this round. But yeah, you guys give a really good argument. But I have to be honest for one thing. I have never seen Sensibility, but the way that, but the, I mean, I've not seen every movie. Let's be honest. But the way Manning explains it, he's more in depth with it. Like as what Matt he's just describing the discussion, the destruction. Oh, and by the way, they're trying to get out. They're not sticking together while the ship is sinking. They're trying to get out. They keep jumping on boats, and after one and after another, they didn't. So of course, yeah. Then the ship sank, and one of them died. But
For both of them to get out, though.
Yeah, try to save each other.
They split off to find that. I mean, if Leo gets his head cut off, he tried to find a way out for love.
Yeah, and then I mean, the way Manning describes this movie, I mean, I'm more invested. I mean, I mean, the way you describe it, it's like I want to see this movie, and
Dude,
as
it's
I
great.
could, yeah, I mean, like it's biannually, and yeah, and people might disagree with how I'm judging right now, but I'm more of a listener, less of a speaker. You know, and when I listen, when people speak, that's how I judge. And the point, I'm gonna give it to Manning.
Yeah, I also haven't seen Sense and Sensibility.
Woo!
Yeah,
I also haven't seen
so
Sense and Sensibility. So
which would give him
that was
a
hard to argue against because, like, I don't know
Ah!
this.
yeah.
You're
And it's also
killing me,
hard.
guys.
It's really hard for me because I've never seen that movie, and I have to
Yeah.
really listen to what Manning's talking about, how to play with my fidget spinner. God damn it!
Fidget spinner, I guess. But yeah, it's a fantastic movie. I would recommend everyone go see it if you have a chance. If you like period romances, if you don't, you're probably not gonna like this one. But this one exemplifies period romances beautifully. And because Emma Thompson is a very underrated screenwriter as well too, she managed to adapt this romance wonderfully.
All right. I mean, the score is 3-1 now, which means you know what it means. We're going. Yes, that's right. We're going to the speed round. So yeah, this will be like we're gonna have like 20 seconds to argue and 15 seconds empowerments.
Okay.
But beforehand, you're gonna choose your movies on this question, which is name the best Nicolas Cage film. Whoever wants to
Now, does
start,
he
you
have to
can
be a
start.
starring role? Does he have to be the leading guy or
The leading guy.
supporting? I have an idea.
Nick Cage. I'm saying Nick Cage, so it's his movie.
Okay.
Ooh.
So fast times now. Um,
I'll give you guys 10 seconds to choose.
um,
Leaving Las Vegas.
Matt?
um, face
Time.
off. Face off.
Just in time.
Nice.
I mean, I'll give, since Matt is behind, I'll just let him start first. I mean, give your 20-second argument, 20-second explanation, and 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So with Face Off, it's Nicolas Cage, John Travolta. They change. They become themselves, and watching Nick Cage give a John Travolta performance is great. It's not just that; it's also a fantastic movie with good writing overall. Yeah, it's a little cheese, but that doesn't matter. It's a great movie all around. I think everybody likes it. So yeah.
All right, time.
Oh,
Manning,
cool.
not good. Whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. Nicolas Cage in Leaving Las Vegas plays an alcoholic, a struggling screenwriter in Hollywood, and because of this, we get to see exactly what he can do as an actor, and that is act like someone who's not Nick Cage. Being able to embody this person who's a struggling screenwriter and trying to fall in love with this person, it definitely brings different nuance to what he can do as an actor. And because he won the Academy Award as well for Best Actor that year when it came out, it's definitely his best performance, and I feel like is the Nick Cage movie people need to see to show, okay, he's a great actor. He's an underrated actor, limited maybe, but he's a fantastic actor.
Right. So, I mean, I'll give you guys 15 seconds to rebuttal. And 3, 2, I mean, there'll be twice rebuttal. Okay? 15 seconds.
Okay.
Right. 3 seconds for each person. We're gonna go back to Matt, okay? 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Look, if I wanted to see something that gave great acting all around from Nick Cage, I watch some like Joe or stuff. But Nick Cage makes Face Off watchable. He makes it worth it. You could put a great actor in Leaving Las Vegas. It's still a fantastic movie. They probably would win Best Actor just because of the script all around.
Time.
Nick Cage
Time.
sells the movie.
Time. Sorry, man. It's 15
So
seconds.
close.
You should.
So
I know.
You should talk fast like Manning. Ooh.
Oh, I can barely understand myself, so don't talk fast like me.
All right, I think whenever you're ready, your 15 seconds are about 3, 2, 1.
Now, Face Off is just as much John Travolta movie as it is Nicolas Cage's film, and I feel like that takes away the argument in and of itself because Nicolas Cage is like half the movie, John Travolta is like half the movie, and they both do fantastic in that role too. Leaving Las Vegas is basically all of Nicolas Cage with a little bit of Elizabeth Shue doing in there to support him.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I mean, so that was really a fast argument. Let me gather my thoughts for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually agree with. I mean, I might. I think we already have a winner here because of one point that Manning gives, which is that Face Off. It's not just a Nicolas Cage film; it's also a John Travolta film.
Yep.
I mean, you have both of them. That's why the question stands as which is the best Nick Cage film. I mean, Matt, you could have picked Con Air for one set. Well, I mean, for one.
I know. I said Face Off. I was like, wait, I've never seen this movie. I should have went with Con Air or The Rock. Now I got to argue for a movie I've never seen.
Oh, you should have gone with Wicker Man.
I need to.
Wicker Man would have won.
I'm watching it tonight.
So we have the winner as is Manning.
Woo!
So, any comments?
That's wow. It's an honor, guys, to come on and absolutely have a blast doing it. And I got to give props out to Matt, the guy who took a last-minute call to arms and came up to face me when I had a lot more time to prepare, and he didn't. He still gave me the fight of my life for this one because sometimes I was there thinking like, oh, I'm not going to argue against that. That's a good point. But I had to think really fast. Thankfully, I can talk with like Roadrunner if I want to. No one will be able to understand me, but I can understand myself sometimes. But yeah, thank you again for having me on. It was a blast, and I'm surprised I haven't done this sooner. But it was a long time coming, trying to come up here, and I can't wait to be on the next match because this is a lot of fun. Talking movies, arguing movies.
Do you have any gripes or any opponents we want to face next?
Okay, all right. I'm hearing this. I love the guy. How is Evan number one still? I'm sorry. How is he number one? I love you, Evan, but you need to be taken down a peg whenever I get a chance to go up against you. We're gonna take you down. I want to see exactly how good your verbal skills are up against me, considering I can talk as fast as Roner if I really want to.
All right, we're gonna go back to Matt. So, yeah, I mean, you came in and you had 30 minutes to prepare. Like, how was your first ever match?
Yeah. No, I had a lot of fun in this. I wish I wish this would have been settled maybe a day before, just so I could have a little more time. But it's all right. I'm still happy with my performance. Manning obviously did a really good job in this match. I believe you'll be playing Andrew Hayes. I think that's how it's mapped out so far. So you'll have him, and I get to play that little fucker named Brian Fernandez. So, Brian, you complain a lot. I'm gonna absolutely destroy you. It's gonna be a knockout, and you're gonna want to retire that night. I guarantee it. You're gonna cry. You're gonna want everything that involves you online taken off because you'll be afraid that you're gonna be shunned by your family because of how bad of a debater you are.
Jeez.
Aaron Hayes should have knocked you out. He couldn't get it for some reason. But I have a confidence he'll play better, but you're going to play the same. I'm just going to knock you out. It's not even going to be close, okay? So, yeah, just get ready for the day after we play, be shunned by your entire family and be disowned. So.
Jesus.
Matt's going to have time to prepare, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to have time.
Matt only had 30 minutes to prepare, and he managed to pull a point. And it's the most difficult point ever because you had two amazing actors on your own as your answers. And you have Christoph Waltz and you have Daniel Bru. Daniel Bru is literally in Inglourious Bastard. That's why I keep asking Matt, are you sure you're going to pick Rush over Inglourious Bastard? By saying no. I'm just going to take the rest.
That was a wise choice. It was a wise choice.
Yeah, because I knew Christoph Waltz was better than Fassbender, so I had to go, let's choose something else.
Yep.
Choose something.
Smart.
And I had to come in up. I mean, like in the place of Matt Beer as the judge. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm not. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not really a good judge.
No, you're
I'm
good.
more.
You did good, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, the style of me judging. It's more of listening to people speaking rather than talking. That's why when you guys were talking, the time was already like. I mean, I gave you guys 4 minutes, and it was already 6 minutes, and the argument was going so fast. I was like, should I stop? Should I stop them?
Well,
That's why
hey,
the
you
speed
gave
I mean,
reasoning to your answers. You gave reasoning to the answer, so
yeah,
that in of itself is a good
yeah.
judge.
It wasn't really that much because, like, let's face it. I was already. I had a winner in my head already. As soon as the
Mm,
time stops, I had a winner in my head. Just to explain it, I thought you had
okay.
to explain it. Yeah,
Yeah, you do.
yeah.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
So,
Cool.
great match, guys.
Thank you.
I mean, so you guys plug yourselves in anywhere?
Yeah,
Matt, Manning.
yeah, you can obviously find me here on this channel. I do reviews, so that's fun, I guess. You can also find me on Twitter. It's Matt Beer. That's the one that has more people on it, so I use that one more. And also, you can find me September 24th, trying to hide from the cops after I beat Evan real bad because I don't want to get arrested for child abuse. But it's going to be a SmackDown Worldwide Movie Trivia. Evan, I'm going to absolutely take you down. It's not even going to be close. Look, I'm actually going in preparing, unlike I did my first two matches, and I almost beat Kearns in my first match. So I'm going to decimate you, and you're going to be retired, and you're going to have to stick to behind the scenes interviewing. And hey, you do a good job interviewing, but you suck ass at trivia. So you can find me doing that. So.
Ouch.
There's a potential if you do win that game, we might face each other. You
Yeah, we
and me.
might. I have a clean slate at that point. So
We'll see then.
That's
Manning, you want to tell people where they can find you? The lovely people.
Yeah. You can find me. I'm blanking on everything now. Wow, my brain's died. Oh, yeah. You can find me at Twitter at @like_Peyton. If I ever do want to post something on Twitter, it'll be there. It'll be quick. It'll be funny. It'll be life-changing. Not really, but you know. And also, you can also find me editing the Geek Pulse Radio podcast. You can find on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on Stitcher. I edit the podcast there. It's a lot of fun. I was recently on this past week, so that was great. I was fortunate enough to do that. But yeah, you can also find me at Take 3 Productions sometimes, also fighting out Worldwide Movie Trivia, where I will be coming back from the grave. I'm coming for you, Jacob. Wink. Add a little winky sound effect in there. I'm not sure you can do that, but just do it. Wink. There we go.
Maybe an explosion.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah. Wink. There you go.
Guys, be sure to subscribe and share and all those things. I know. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys in the next match. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. I'll stop the broadcast.